here from a little overcast in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I am Wilhelm Scream. I will be one of your broadcast announcers. I'm partnered up with
Star Spangled Hammer.
We're going to be covering this game featuring the Twin Cities Terrors against the St. Louis Gatekeepers.
Yeah, it should be a really interesting bout. These two teams haven't met in over, 5 years? 4 years?
Yeah,
they haven't met since June 11th of 2011. So it should be interesting to see what these two teams bring to the track, having not being very familiar with each other. I mean, 4 years is a lot of time.
Definitely a lot of changes on the roster between the two teams. Gatekeepers coming in ranked second in MRDA. Terrors currently ranked 23rd. 14th actually on MRDA. Terrors also only have 2 games under their belt in 2015. Gatekeepers have 3, but both teams coming in undefeated.
Yeah,
So,
both teams looked really good. TC Terrors 2-0 with wins over number 29 Sioux City and 51 Big O. They've won their 2 contests by an average of 176 points. Gatekeepers, same boat, 3-0 at Spring Roll just a few weekends ago. Wins over 33 Cincy, number 5 Texas, and number 39 Carolina. And they've won their 3 contests by an average of 487 points.
It's going to be a good, hard-fought bout between these two teams. First men's derby of the tournament weekend. We're getting lined up on the jam line already. We've got Fire Wally for the Twin Cities Terrors. He's going to be jamming against Magnum PIMP, number L7 for the Gatekeepers.
Looks like the Gatekeepers are going to start with a defensive grouping of Percy Control, Incredible Hulk, the Saint, and Monster Jam to start the weekend.
The Terrors defense, Loose Wheel, Freight Train, Baron Von Beans, and Steve Sweat. Loose Wheel dropping a big hit on Magnum PIMP, slowing him down. Did not prevent Magnum from picking up lead jammer status, however.
So Magnum threw already 5 points to start this game off. TC Terrors jammer still trying to work his way through. Monster Jam and the Saint up front doing a nice job on him.
Firewally trying to find a seam, gets bounced down, picks up a track cut penalty. That is going to send him into the penalty box. Puts the Gatekeepers on a power jam. And Magnum's already grabbed 5 points and is in the middle of a scoring pass, looking to get some more, extend that early Gatekeepers lead. Another 5 points there. 5 in the sky. Gatekeepers jumping out to a 10-0 lead over the Terrors.
Gatekeepers have done a great job so far this season of taking full advantage of every mistake their opponents make. Showing that again here as they start to continue to rack up these points here in this jam.
Wally standing up in the penalty box, serving out the rest of his time. He returns to the track. Magnum another 5 points in the air. And if I'm not mistaken, Firewall is still on his initial pass.
Gatekeepers this weekend without one of their prime blockers in Double XL as he's at home nursing a gimpy elbow. Is a good way to put it. He's having some elbow issues, so he was unable to make the trip. So you're going to see some action from Monster Jam and Walker Hamilton this weekend in his place.
Looks like the Terrors are going to start the second jam with Tim Chilla, number 3. That is number 32, Shane Bauer, jamming for the Gatekeepers. A little bit of equipment adjustment happening over here, in case you're wondering and hearing some of the scratching on the microphone.
Shane Bauer threw once again another 5 points. Grand slam for St. Louis.
Tim Chilla facing a similar issue that Firewall was facing, unable to solve the Gatekeepers' defense. Spin Diesel really putting a good stiff shoulder into Tim Chilla a couple times at the front of the pack. Chilla does complete his initial pass. Bauer already on a second scoring pass. slows down. Lets Tim Chilla catch up to him. Calls off a jam. 10 points in that jam. That's making the score 33-0. 26 minutes, 40 seconds left in the first half.
Nate Bauer, another gatekeeper, that's going to see a lot of action this weekend with the missing double Excel from the lineup. He is out there now with Incredible Hulk, Percy Control, and the Saint.
Debaucherous Prime, number 11, jamming and picking up lead jammer status for the Gatekeepers. Steve Sweat, the Twin City Terror jammer, into the penalty box. Did not quite see what the call was, but this is going to be another power jam for St. Louis.
I believe it was a forced track cut here on the inside line. Another 5 points there for Corey Porter.
Steve Sweat returns to the track. Porter grabbed 10 so far, if my math is correct. Of course, my math is unofficial, and I wouldn't trust my counting skills.
It is announcer math, where none of us are good at it. Solid defensive front put up by the Gatekeepers as they have Steve Sweat stymied at the back of the pack. Looks like he's about to break free, but good cycling by the Gatekeepers.
Steve Sweat trying to use some of his jam skater skills, and looks like Debaucherous Prime into the penalty box. That is going to create an opportunity for the Terrors.
Did not see the call.
Like it was a low block call.
Interesting. Gatekeeper defense doing a nice job right now, not allowing Steve Sweat to get free.
Good, strong penalty kill done by the Gatekeeper. Steve Sweat not completing a scoring pass. And the Saint dropping Steve Sweat to the ground. The 2 minutes elapses. 4 more points grabbed by the Gatekeepers, and that strong penalty kill holding the Terrors still scoreless. That goose egg still on the board.
That penalty did come to an end on Corey Porter, though, before the jam clock ran out. So the Gatekeepers will be fielding a jammer here, and it's going to be Screech Around. I believe that is Derby Monster out there for Twin City.
Is indeed 00 Derby Monster, going to go into number 66, Screech Around. Good backwards bridging by the Gatekeepers, forcing Derby Monster to retreat back deep. Screech Around just bowls his way past Egon Strangler. The Candyman unable to stop Screech Around on the initial pass.
Yeah, Screech Around, there's not a whole lot of flash. He's just going to go north and south. Egon Strangler up front trying to put a hit on Screech Around. Has to let him go.
Had good awareness about where he was with relation to the pack and pulled up just before he was going to pick up an out-of-play penalty. Screech Around coming around again, grabs another 5-point scoring pass. It's 15 so far. Gives a thumbs up to his bench as he skates past.
There it is, another 5 points. Grand slam for St. Louis. Derby Monster right now being worked on by Spin Diesel, and Wrecking Bill forced out by Spin Diesel. He's going to be cycled back. Meanwhile, Screech Around being tied up front. Wall anchored by Tim Chilla on Egon Strangler. Does finally get free, though. It's going to be 5 more points. Looks to his bench, and Screech Around's going to call that jam off.
And looks like a timeout being asked for by the Terrors. Score is currently 72-0. 22 minutes left in the first half. St. Louis has just been taking it to the Terrors so far. Their defense has been stifling the Jammers, and offensively they've had just enough agility to find those holes.
Yeah, you're not going to get a whole lot of flash out of most of these Gatekeepers Jammers. They're pretty straightforward. They have a couple moves here and there to get around walls, but they're mostly north-south. They've got one overriding goal, and that is to get through your walls, and they're just going to plow right through them in most cases.
And we're seeing one of the reasons why they are the number 2 team in MRGA. You've got their defense, and in that last game specifically, you've got a guy like Wrecking Bill. He's a wall in and of himself. And then you put out Led Zeppelin as well, and either of those guys can stand on their own.
Yeah, you get some situations out there where you're dealing with almost 1,000 pounds of blocker.
Right.
I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah,
we've got a couple walls. The Gatekeepers have a couple walls that are 1,000 pounds.
And just locking everything down. Looks like we're going to get set with another jam. We've got Handrail on the jam line for the Gatekeepers, number 12. We'll be jamming against number 382 for the Terrors. That's Freight Train. And a quick official timeout. Use this opportunity to run through the Terrors lineup. They're sending out today 00 Derby Monster, 0405 Paul of Duty, 103 Loose Wheel, 2000 David Smashelhoff, number 3 Tim Chilla, number 308 Carl Marksman, number 31 Jamet Dim, number 382 Freight Train, number 404 Fire Wally, number 42 Egon Strangler, number 609 Baron Von Beans, number 66 Samson, number 808 Steve Sweat, and number 88 Nader's Gonna Nate.
St. Louis Gatekeepers roster: number 1, The Saint; number 11, Corey Porter; number 12, Handrail; number 22, Nate Bauer; 0260 Spin Diesel; 32, Shane Bauer; 5150 Incredible Hulk; 538 Walker Hamilton; 57 Monster Jam; 618 Led Zeppelin; 66 Screech Around; 82 Percy Control; 86D Wrecking Bill; and L7 Magnum PIMP.
Like this might have been just a scoring time clarification. You're watching Brouhaha, brought to you by Hinckley Productions. Big thank you to them for providing all of the streaming for Midwest Brouhaha. If you are watching and want to get your viewing party or your tweets or Instagram pictures, use the hashtag Brouhaha2015 and give a little shout out to Freight Train picking up lead jammer status for the first time in this game. Twin Cities Terrors grabbing lead.
Yep, looks like that timeout was just what the TC Terrors ordered, as they're going to get some points here. So 4 points for Freight Train and Twin Cities, also 4 points for Handrail.
Freight Train, a very physical jammer, just again, as we've seen, that north-south just bowling his way through. Not a lot of east-west, just going to push on through. Handrail and Jamet Dim getting tangled up. Dim a little bit slow to get up. Does go into the penalty box. Freight Train grabs a 5-point scoring pass. Freight Train snags another 5. Handrail completes a 4-point pass.
I'll tell you what, the Gatekeepers have struggled a little bit with larger jammers because of their strong wall style. That's what it has taken to get through these walls, is a big jammer. And that's what we saw right there with Freight Train.
And the Terrors, they're a determined team. They're just going to keep trying to push through. And now we're seeing that it was 72-0. Now it's 80-19. It's still well within reach. Only 10 minutes gone in the first half.
So Magnum PIMP out there jamming now for the Gatekeepers.
He's jamming against Nader's Gonna Nate, number 88.
And Magnum PIMP is going to be your lead jammer. First scoring pass here for St. Louis. Walker Hamilton with a nice force out on the outside, and they're going to cycle. Nader's going to nade back. Spin Diesel, Blood Zeppelin, and the Monster Jam out there defensively. 5 points, grand slam for St. Louis.
Nader's going to take the cap off, goes inactive. That allows him to get through the pack. Gatekeepers might have actually lost track of where he was for a brief second without the jammer cap on. Magnum PIMP gets 4 more, calls it off.
That has become a very popular strategy these days, is once the opposing jammer gets out, take that panty off, hopefully nobody notices who you are, and you skip through there, and that's what happened there.
Yeah, if you were watching the previous game between Detroit and Old Capital City, you saw Old Capital do it a lot just in the very first game of the tournament. We'll see how many more times throughout the weekend we end up seeing that strategy being used. Derby Monster on the jam line for the Terrors.
That is Shane Bauer out there for the Gatekeepers. He's your lead jammer. A 4-on-3 pack advantage right now for St. Louis.
So Nate Bauer going into the penalty box on a low block call. Got tangled up, I believe that was with Tinchilla.
Yep.
Both jammers recycled back deep by the opposing defenses. Good bridging done by both teams.
That's one thing, the high-level teams, their bridge work is so good. Just so aware of everything that's going on the track.
Egon Strangler picking up an out-of-play penalty as Bauer completing another 5-point pass. Derby Monster out of the pack now.
Shane Bauer coming around for another scoring pass, and he's going to, looks like picks up 3 there and then calls that jam off. That takes us to 97-19 in favor of St. Louis. 17:37 left on the clock here in the first half.
One of the things we're looking at with my unofficial stats, it's really coming down to which team gets lead jammer. The only time the Terrors got lead jammer, the only time they've scored points.
Yeah, these two teams, they're going to be really aware of when to call jams off. You're not going to see many situations where both teams, where there are non-lead jammer points on the board this game, I don't think. Corey Porter, your lead jammer for St. Louis. Freight Train out there for TC.
Freight Train runs into the back of the wall, specifically Walker Hamilton, who delivers a good push to slow any momentum that Freight Train might have started to pick up.
Oh, Egon Strangler coming out of the penalty box. Puts a lick on Walker Hamilton. Not enough to force him out of play, though. Meanwhile, Corey Porter back around for another scoring pass.
It's like 5 points picked up, and a star pass being done by the Twin Cities Terrors. Steve Sweat now with the jammer cap put on his head.
Oh, nice move there to the outside by Corey Porter to get around Egon Strangler for that last point before calling off that jam. So 14-point jam there for Corey Porter. That takes the Gatekeepers over the century mark.
Sends the lead 106-19. Just about a quarter of this game gone.
So Nader's going to Nate on the line for TC Terrors. Screech around out there for St. Louis. And Screech around is your lead jammer.
And Nader's going to Nate, seeing Screech around being declared lead jammer, takes the jammer cap off right away.
Gatekeepers this time well aware of what's going on.
With Steve Sweat's agility, sometimes even knowing what's happening may not be enough to stop him.
Very true, very true. So the panty has been passed to Steve Sweat. He has not put it on yet, though.
The Saint trying to force him into a track cut. Looks like Steve Sweat just got back on the track before a track cut was assessed.
Yep, pleading his case. The chop's on the outside. She was like, nope.
Screech around pushing, trying to get past Paul of Duty and loose wheel. Completes another 5-point scoring pass. 15 points this jam.
Gatekeepers continue to score points in bunches here.
Yeah, every single jam has featured at least 2 scoring passes, if not more.
Never a dull moment here. I believe that's Fire Wally out there now for the Twin City Terrors, going up against Handrail for St. Louis.
Oh, spinning on the inside line, Handrail picking up lead jammer status. Fire Wally picking up a couple of hits from Wreckingville and Led Zeppelin.
Oh man, so agile, Handrail with the pirouettes around the outside. Strong wall in the back now for TC.
Handrail pushes through but gets bounced to the outside. Pulled back behind Sampson.
So Fire Wally has taken the jammer panty off. We'll see if he passes it or if he's just trying to use it to sneak through. No, he does pass it. Has been past a freight train, but he has not put it on yet. And Led Zeppelin just drew the track cut on freight train, so now a power jam situation here for Handrail.
And Handrail's already picked up 15, make it 20.
So far, Twin City just having no answers for this Gatekeeper offense.
Firewall had gotten pinned back behind the Gatekeeper wall, allowing the Gatekeepers to hold the pack where they wanted to. Sampson asking for a forearm call, no call given. But a 25-point jam for Handrail. And Magnum PIMP to the jam line. He's going to finish off this power jam.
Now what is this? What is the strangeness we see here? We see blockers lined up at the pivot line.
A strategy that doesn't get used as often anymore. It's a throwback to old school derby. Magnum PIMP dancing the line. His skates had to have eyes, because otherwise I'm not sure how he kept them on the track.
Oh, freight train with nice work there to stay in bounds on the outside. Don't let that size fool you. Freight train's got some moves too. Egon waving to the crowd as he skates off.
The one thing Egon Strangler seems to be aware of is where the camera is at all times.
This is true, very true. So it's going to be 88, Nader's going to Nate going on the line for Twin City, going up against Shane Bauer for St. Louis. Shane Bauer is going to be your lead jammer, quickly running up that inside line. Nader's going to Nate. Oh, Walker Hamilton just blew up. Nader's going to Nate on the outside.
A little bit of a dangerous hit, though, with the way that Nader was coming in. A little off balance, and Hamilton was very close to a high hit. Ended up being clean, but could have been a very scary hit.
You know what, though? A lot of this game is walking that line. Meanwhile, Shane Bauer with 5 points, grand slam. Nice transition work from the Gatekeepers from the bridge to the three-man wall. Meanwhile, Shane Bauer being cycled all the way back by Fire Wally.
As is Nader's going to Nate. Nader's going to Nate a little bit frustrated with Fire Wally because he's looking for the star pass, and Wally's now forcing a retreat backwards, which allows the Gatekeepers to retreat backwards.
Cool.
You could almost see Nader's going to Nate just looking like, come on, you're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah, really? Come on. The pass has been made. Yes, it has. However,
track cut against Fire Wally.
That was a unfortunate timing there. He had received the star, so this will be a power jam for St. Louis. Meanwhile, Shane Bauer with a nice tightrope on the outside line. He's going to call that jam off.
Picked up 25 points over the course of that jam. And it looks like Porter's going to step out to the jam line to finish off the power jam situation.
Carl Marksman, Tim Chilla, Egon Strangler, and I can't quite make out who the fourth man is out there defensively for TC this jam.
That is number 31, Jamit Dim.
There you go. Oh, Corey Porter forced out by Egon Strangler.
It was a well-timed hit by Egon, and
yes,
then Egon gets bounced to the outside by Inquadable Hulk. Porter coming around does have lead jammer status.
Nice work there by Carl Marksman, forcing Corey Porter out on the outside, making him cycle back. Tim Chilla picks up a track cut.
And unfortunately for the Terrors, he had just been past the star from Fire Wally.
Oh.
So the Terrors once again losing a jammer. And looks like they're asking for an official review.
In the last few minutes, the star pass has not been kind to Twin Cities.
They've completed it 4 times, but 3 of those times they've picked up a track cut call.
I'll tell you what, those are killer penalties.
Well, and there's demoralizing, too. When you're right at the front of the pack and you think you've sprung free, and the slightest bit of step, my guess, and hopefully we'll get some information from the alt refs, my guess, honestly, is that Betsy Rexy is challenging one of those track cuts, trying to get their jammer out of the box.
That is likely the case. So we're going to have a dazzle of zebras here as they're huddling out there to discuss this. And I'll tell you what, let's talk about some of your sponsors here. Play, stay, and get lucky at Milwaukee's #1 entertainment destination. That's Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. That's a lot of syllables there.
Not for Wisconsin. That's
fair enough.
Wisconsin.
Fair enough. Bruce Skate Noose, the original over-the-shoulder roller skate holder. We have 50 colors and patterns to fit your team, your league, or your personality. If that isn't enough, contact us for more customization options. That's Bruce Skate Nooses. Sakatumi sells fun, funky socks. Socks with tacos, cupcakes, ninjas, mustaches, unicorns, and other things magical. Sakatumi.
I think everyone should have funky socks. There
agree.
should be more funky socks on the track. The whiteboard should have funky socks. Not the whiteboard operators. The whiteboard itself needs Sakatumi socks.
Wait, does the whiteboard have feet? I guess it does.
It has legs on the easel.
Yeah, I guess that works. So we're going to get back to action here in just a moment. Both teams at full strength defensively. Screech around the lone jammer. He will have the power start. He'll begin this jam unopposed as Tim Chilla sits in the penalty box for Twin City.
Screech around starting from the notorious RED jammer line.
around just a couple of feet. He does get through. He's going to be your lead jammer. Tim Chilla about to re-enter play. Gatekeepers setting up. Meanwhile, Screech around on another scoring pass.
Good stiff wall, but they left enough of an inside line for Screech around to find the opening. Just not taking the inside completely with the Terrors, and Screech around exploited that opportunity. Tim Chilla out of the penalty box.
Meanwhile, Screech around picks up another. Oh, only 4 points. Only 4 points on that jam. Meanwhile, the gatekeepers continue to cycle well. Tim Chilla gets through, thinks he's free, and by the time he gets to the front of the pack, 2 gatekeepers are sitting there waiting for him. So now Tim Chilla looking to play a little defense. Oh, nice move there by Screech around. He sees a little bit of a seam on the inside line, tiptoes through, and picks up 5 more points for St. Louis.
Yeah, Loose Wheel and Freight Train not able to seal off the inside. But Screech around, you give him an inch, and he's going to take a 5-point pass.
So 2 more points there for St. Louis. That jam takes him over the 200-point mark with 5:21 to go here. The score 206-19 in favor of St. Louis.
Looks like Handrail's going to be taking the jam line for the Gatekeepers. He'll be jamming against Nader's Gonna Nate.
Such a great name. Both teams at full strength. We have an empty penalty box here. Handrail is your lead jammer. Meanwhile, Percy control, cycling. Nader's Gonna Nate to the back of the pack. Nader's Gonna Nate going to play some defense. Gets forced out.
His momentum actually took himself off the track. He was trying to lay that hit on Handrail and slid just a little bit too far to the outside and had to retreat back.
Meanwhile, Steve Sweat and Derby Monster doing a nice job up front containing Handrail. Steve Sweat finally forces him out, but a penalty call on Steve Sweat.
Looks like Steve Sweat being assessed a direction of play penalty.
So meanwhile, Handrail picks up in rapid succession a couple grand slams.
And Nader's Gonna Nate just again not having any luck. Incredible Hulk and Percy control really stifling him. Nate Bauer also helping out the defense, and the Saint pretty much holding the Terrors wall back to prevent them from helping their jammer through.
Oh, nice work by Handrail to stay in bounds, picking up 5 more points. Steve Sweat returns the play from the penalty box, and he shoots right up to anchor that wall that is now holding Handrail at bay. Meanwhile, Handrail finds an outside line, and he takes it.
Nader's Gonna Nate finally knifing through. Redons the star.
So Handrail picks up 3 more before calling that jam off.
It's going to extend the lead 229-19 with 3 minutes to go.
It's been a very fast first half here. Very few stoppages and plays. Just 1 official review and 1 short timeout, and a timeout by Twin City. Sorry, no, actually no timeouts from either team. Oh, Monster Jam with a nice clear out. Gives Magnum a little room to work. Now Steve Sweat trying to lay him out. Oh, Magnum with a nice jump back to the inside. He's going to be your lead jammer. Meanwhile, Firewall at the back of the pack trying to get through. Spin Diesel with a nice cycle. Now joined by Monster Jam and Bled Zeppelin.
Magnum just juking his way around Loose Wheel, both front and the back of the pack. A scoring pass of 5 in the air. Completed. Firewall pulled back once again, as it just been, I feel like a broken record, but we're seeing the Terrors jammers bounced off the track and forced to recycle back deep. And meanwhile, the Gatekeepers just racking up Grand Slam after Grand Slam.
Yeah, the Gatekeepers right now are doing a really nice job splitting up the defense and offense. Monster Jam playing an offensive game, timing things very nicely right as Magnum PIMP is hitting the pack. He's up there causing havoc.
Loose Wheel heads into the penalty box for the Terrors. They lose one of their blockers, Farawali, currently inactive as the Jammer, but still holding the cap. And Magnum through again. That's 5 more points. That's going to bring it to 20. And the Jam is called off.
So coming up, what will likely be the last jam of the first half here, and it's going to be Tim Chilla on the line for Twin Cities against Shane Bauer for St. Louis.
This will be the 17th jam of the half, too. So you're seeing one of the things that's also helped the time overall. They've been longer jams.
Yes.
We're not seeing a lot of time in between.
Yep, loose wheels and sitting in the penalty box. We're going to have a power jam here for Twin Cities, so an opportunity here at the end of the half. Shane Bauer with the track cut. So Tim Chilla, the lone jammer on the track for Twin Cities. Last power jam they had, they were unable to score any points due to the stifling defense of St. Louis.
We'll see if Tim Chilla can change a little bit of that with the Sakatumi power jam.
He has completed his initial pass, so he is going to get some points here. I think he's got 2 so far. We'll see if he can get the full 4 or 5, actually.
Tim Chilla just fighting at the front, gets pushed around. That's Percy control that pushed him to the infield. Well, good penalty kill. Because Shane Bauer was able to get out of the penalty box and complete a scoring pass before Tim Chilla could complete his own scoring pass. Chilla did pick up 4 points.
So good jam there for Twin Cities to end the half. Score St. Louis 249 to Twin Cities 23. So this is pretty much what we expected out of St. Louis.
Yeah, and not an unexpected result with a team that's ranked second going up against a team that's ranked 14. The spread doesn't seem like it'd be that much in the standings, but in MRDA, that is actually a fairly large spread. There is an official review being asked for at the end of the half.
Interesting.
But, what we're seeing is that good, strong defense from the Gatekeepers. We're seeing the Terrors trying to eke their way through, but they're just not having a lot of luck. The defense is stifling them, and scores, the offense, the Jammers are just piling up scoring pass after scoring pass after scoring pass.
Yeah, what's happening is the St. Louis defense is doing such a good job that the Jammers are pretty much having free range, and Twin Cities right now is a little bit scrambling. And we'll see if they can regroup at the half and come out and shore things up a little bit.
Well, we're going to step off. We'll be back near the end of halftime. We're going to hopefully have some information about what's going on with this official review when we come back just before the second half. Welcome back for the second half. We're just about ready to get going with the second half between the St. Louis Gatekeepers and the Twin Cities Terrors. Looking at stats, we've got Screech Around, the top scoring jammer out of anyone, 61 points. Right behind him, though, are 2 of his teammates, Handrail and Magnum PIMP, with 56. all of the Gatekeepers jammers outscoring the Terrors as a team.
Yeah, right now the Twin City Terriers just have not had an answer for this offensive juggernaut that the Gatekeepers are putting out there. And it's not for lack of technique. They're putting up good, strong walls. The Gatekeepers are just crashing them, and the jammers are finding just the tiniest of lanes to get through. So Twin City's doing a nice job, but the Gatekeepers are just finding all the little seams and holes right now, and it's showing on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and actually, as we were getting ready to come back in, Freight Train came past the Gatekeepers bench, and he said something that we've heard many times in games against the Gatekeepers of, I thought I was clear, and then I saw this guy, and he was pointing at Wrecking Bill. And Wrecking Bill has been a thorn in many skaters' sides throughout his career, and Freight Train just another one that's ticking off that line of, man, I have to go up against Wrecking Bill again. Penalty-wise, though, overall, relatively clean with the exception of Loose Wheel. Loose Wheel from the Terrors sitting on 5 penalties already, so he's really got to watch it in the second half.
Wow, that was really under the radar, too, because, I mean, normally that's something that we notice, and I know I didn't notice he'd been to the box 5 times.
Yeah, I caught 3. I didn't catch all 5. I thought that he was seeing relatively well, but he's looking in a little bit of a danger zone. We'll see what happens in the second half.
So Fire Wally's going to start this half off for the Twin City Terrors. Meanwhile, Corey Porter on the outside line. He's going to be your lead jammer. Gatekeepers started this jam down 1 blocker, but Hulk was standing in the penalty box, so he quickly returned to play. Corey Porter put up 33 points in the first half. He's looking to add to that total here. I believe he picked up 5 more. There it is. 5 points awarded by the referee.
And Fire Wally just once again being stifled by the Gatekeepers wall. Monster Jam, Percy Control, Incredible Hulk, and the Saint. The 4 of them combining. Finally, Baron Von Beans creating a little bit of an opening for Fire Wally, and Wally gets tangled up with his own teammate on the inside. That is Steve Sweat he gets tangled up with.
Yeah, Twin City continuing to employ the tactic of removing the star to try to sneak through. The Gatekeepers with good awareness are not having any of it. And Corey Porter calls off that jam, but not before picking up 2 more points.
It seems weird to say this, but only an 11-point jam. If you're a stats nerd like the rest of us, you can get the stats for all of the games throughout the entire weekend of Midwest Brouhaha. Just head over to stats.madrollingdolls.com. All the stats from all the games are going to be out there. Keep in mind, on social media, tag yourself and use the hashtag Brouhaha2015. Let's see if we can make this trend everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean, like, let's get trending in Canada, let's get trending in Europe.
Yeah, if you're at a watch party, take a picture, tag it with Brouhaha 2015. Meanwhile, Screech Around out there scoring points. He is your lead jammer for St. Louis as he just picked it up there.
Screech Around was almost clear a little bit ago and got bounced to the inside. Good blocking by the tandem of Egon Strangler and Jam It Dim, forcing Screech Around to the infield and retreat back. Carl Marksman joins that twosome, making it a threesome. Screech Around finds an opening for 5 points.
Yep, Derby Monster out there for Twin Cities. Still trying to complete his initial pass. Big pile up there on turn 3. And somebody being sent off.
Shrek penalty being assessed to Jam It Dim.
And now we're going to have a power jam as Derby Monster heads off. And Egon as well. So a full penalty box for Twin Cities. So 4-on-2 pack advantage as well as the power jam here for St. Louis. This is probably not going to be pretty. And 308, that's Carl Marksman. He's waiting to re-enter play as he was forced out on the inside.
And this wheel gets juked around. Another 5-point pass. 25 points picked up by Screech Around, just extending his overall game lead. As the Terrors currently sitting with a full Potawatomi Hotel and Casino penalty box. They've got 2 skaters standing, so there's a little bit of room at the end. But that's not the one thing you want to see is having it completely full where there's no room and someone standing.
No, penalty box party, not good. So handrail out there for the Gatekeepers. Nice move to the outside. He's going to be quickly your lead jammer.
Jam returning to the track, trying to slow down Handrail. Handrail still fights through, but Derby Monster out of the penalty box and skating out in the open, something we haven't seen a lot of the Terrace Jammers doing throughout this game.
So 2 more points there for Handrail as he calls it off just in time to keep Derby Monster from scoring any points for Twin Cities.
It's going to set the score currently 292 to 23, 25 and a half to go in the second half.
Nader's going to Nate out there for the Terrors, and he's going up against Magnum PIMP for the Gatekeepers. If you're just joining us, Terrors in powder blue, Gatekeepers in black.
We are here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for Brouhaha 2015. And on the Derby Laces track, that's Magnum PIMP picking up lead jammer status.
It's a lot of action here in turns 1 and 2. Meanwhile, Magnum PIMP picking up 5 points. Oh, Bled Zeppelin with a nice catch at the end.
And Bled Zeppelin being assessed a low block call. He did catch him, but he caught him a little bit low. Looks like 7 points in that jam for Magnum PIMP, but Nader's going to Nate picking up 2. Becoming at this point only the 3rd Terrors jammer to put any points on the board.
So it's going to be Derby Monster on the line now for the Terrors. Shane Bauer out there for the Gatekeepers. Out there blocking for Twin City, Carl Marksman, Jamit Dim, Firewall, and Egon Strangler.
And ladies and gentlemen, Derby Monster picking up lead jammer status. It's been a rare occurrence for the Twin Cities Terrors, but this is an opportunity. Derby Monster, if he can get a good head of steam going, he could add some points to the Terrors score relatively quickly.
Well, you know what? Derby Monster, another one of those jammers, kind of like Freight Train, a bigger guy, a little stronger, able to really crash those walls.
It's like 5 points were picked up by Derby Monster, and more importantly, keeping Bauer from grabbing any points. Could have been more for the Terrors, but the Saint just did what he does and stopped any momentum Derby Monster had, bounced into the infield, forced him to retreat, and that killed all the rest of the momentum for the rest of the jam.
So Freight Train on the line now for the Terrors, going up against Corey Porter for the Gatekeepers. Out there blocking for Gatekeepers, Spin Diesel, Walker Hamilton, Monster Jam, Bled Zeppelin. For Twin City, Jamit Dim, Baron Von Bean, Sampson, and Steve Sweat.
Dim has outright told me he picked that name just to trip up announcers.
I'm not surprised.
And a track cut call against Debaucherous Prime, Corey Porter. That makes this a power jam for Freight Train.
Already has lead jammer, so this is a scoring pass.
And Freight Train says, "Sock it to me" for 5 points in the air on the Sock it to me power jam. Freight Train already picked up 19 in the first half, leading the all Terror scores. He's added 10 so far.
Monster Jam, Bled Zeppelin, and Spin Diesel trying to slow Freight Train down. I'm not sure he went out there. Oh, he did go out.
He is being assessed. That's going to flip the power jam on its head. It's now Debaucherous Prime's power jam.
Couldn't tell from my angle, but the jam ref was right there on top of it.
It was definitely a narrow margin on that. It could have gone either way. And 5 points picked up by Debaucher's Prime.
Oh, nice little burst of speed there as he saw that inside line open, and that's 5 more points for Corey Porter and the Gatekeepers.
Looked like Monster Jam just pulled the Terrors a little bit towards the outside to create the opening for Debaucher's Prime. Prime out and around again. That's another 5-point pass. Serves some time in the penalty box, but he's picked up 15. Freight Train also grabbed a full 15, completing his final scoring pass that he had started before going into the penalty box. So ultimately, that jam's kind of a wash. Both jammers serving some time, both jammers picking up 15 points. A little more time off the clock. We've got a score of 3:14 to 45. Just about 20 minutes and 30 seconds to go.
As the dealer at the Potawatomi Casino would say, it was a push.
By the end of the weekend, we're going to get you to say Potawatomi correctly.
I'll get it eventually.
That is our
Potawatomi. There we go. Potawatomi.
And now we've done it once. We'll never do it again. Screech around, jamming for the Gatekeepers. That is Nader's Gonna Nate jamming for the Terrors. Screech around picking up lead jammer. Nader's Gonna Nate holding the star in his hand. Looks like might be looking for Steve Sweat. Steve Sweat, though, being a defensive force as well. And throwing Screech around. Screech around now tangling with Carl Marksman. It's a little bit slow to get up, but Screech around forced into a track cut. Opportunity for the Twin Cities Terrors.
Yeah, Screech around got taken down on the inside, thought he was still in bounds. He did touch out of bounds, so that's going to get the track cut. Pile up now in turn 3. Nader's Gonna Nate still trying to get through. He does finally get by Incredible Hulk.
But with all the time it took him to get through the pack, Screech around already out of the notorious RED, or the Potawatomi Casino penalty box. Ran to the track just ahead of the notorious RED jammer line. There's Gonna Nate getting stood up by Percy Control. That sends Percy into the penalty box. Nader's bounced to the outfield by Incredible Hulk. Monster Jam luring him back deep.
I gotta say, it seems like everything here is sponsored. I was just in the Charmin restrooms before the game.
It is a relatively standard thing in roller derby. If we can get it sponsored, we will get it sponsored. For example, the tracks. They are the Derby Laces tracks.
Oh, okay.
Say goodbye to untied skate laces. Derby Laces stay tied tight and where you want them. Get yours at derbylaces.com.
So it's Firewally out there for the Terrors going up against Handrail for the Gatekeepers now. 4-on-3 pack advantage for Twin Cities as Percy Control sits in the box for the Gatekeepers. Oh, nice work on the outside there to force Handrail out. Egon cycles him all the way back. Firewally working against a strong 3-wall of Spin Diesel, Wrecking Bill, and Blood Zeppelin.
And Firewally being forced to do all the work on his own, not getting a lot of help from his blockers. They'd step back to try and slow down Handrail. But end up all being for naught as Handrail picks up lead jammer status.
Oh, nice move by Handrail, stopping on a dime on that corner. Gets through, picks up 5 points. Firewally still trying to complete his initial pass. He has taken the star off. Does still have it in his possession, though. Meanwhile, Handrail 5 more points.
And Handrail sliding off a hit from Baron Von Beans to complete the scoring pass.
Handrail working against Egon Strangler. And Baron Von Beans right now alongside Freight Train. Handrell squeaks through. He is going to pick up 5 more points.
Firewall being forced to retreat back yet again. And watch the back bridging done by the Gatekeepers. Pulled him back a third of the way around the track. Hanrail being slowed down now at the front. Baron Von Beans, Freight Train, and Jam It Dim, but another Rydell Skates Grand Slam picked up by Hanrail. Gives him 4 thus far in this jam. Just under 16 left. Score is now 339 to 53.
So the Terrors in the second half doing a much better job containing the offense of the Gatekeepers. Still putting up a lot of points, but nowhere near as many as they were in the first half.
And the Terrors themselves have gathered a number of points. Already picking up 34 in this half. Magnum PIMP picking up lead jammer for the Gatekeepers. His counterpart is number 3, Tim Chilla.
Sometimes Magnum PIMP makes the greatest moves look so effortless.
He was going north-south, pretty good head of steam, and without missing a beat, jumped 3 feet to his left, dodged a hit.
And now Magnum showing his strength and just tries to power through that line. Egon Strangler, however, being sent off for a multiplayer block.
And Tim Chilla running into Nate Bauer. Bauer assessed a penalty, I believe, direction of play.
Meanwhile, the Saint cycling Tim Chilla all the way back. Magnum PIMP continuing to score in bunches, 5 more points. Looks to his bench as he skates by. Pink says keep it going.
And Tim Chilla picking up a track cut penalty. His skate just stepped out as he tried retreating his way through and backing into the pack. Left skate just stepped on the infield, or correction, right skate, and it didn't pick it up in time. That is a track cut penalty. That's going to allow the Gatekeepers to start out on another Sakatumi Power Jam.
It's Sakatumi time.
And they send out, that's Shane Bauer.
So defensively, we're going to see Jamit Dim, Firewally, Baron Von Beans, and Sampson out there for Twin Cities as they try to kill this penalty. Shane Bauer able to quickly grab lead jammer. Sampson forced out on the inside. He's content to sit still for now. Doesn't want to come in and be the GOAT. Meanwhile, Shane Bauer skates through the pack backwards and picks up 5 points. Sampson re-enters play, and the Gatekeepers quickly collapse on him.
The Gatekeepers doing a good job separating the Terror's wall so they can control where the pack is. Tim Chilla out of the penalty box. Had the star in his hand. The Gatekeepers may not have realized he was the jammer. Did let him get through, and Tim Chilla completing his initial pass. But 11 points grabbed by the Gatekeepers to extend their lead 374 to 53. 12 minutes, 15 seconds left.
So Derby Monster on the line now for Twin Cities, going up against Corey Porter for St. Louis. If you happen to be just joining us from home, Twin Cities in powder blue, Gatekeepers in black.
And Derby Monster for the Terrors, lead jammer. He's picked up the last time he was jamming as well. Porter very quickly catching up. trying to force the issue, but Derby Monster's not willing to sit back. He pushes his way through. 4 points in the air for the Terrors, and Porter forced down, pulled back to the infield.
And now the Gatekeepers shedding blockers as they have a full penalty box and then some as Monster Jam heads around.
Derby Monster getting tangled up with Porter. Both go down. Porter bounced up, and now Derby Monster fighting with Nate Bauer at the front. Derby Monster completing another scoring pass. That's a 5-point Rydell Skates grand slam for the Twin Cities Terrors.
Oh, back block call on Derby Monster as he came out and took out Hulk. So now a power jam for Corey Porter and St. Louis.
That was one of those close calls too, because from my angle, it looked like Hulk was actually the one that initiated that block. But we'll see what happens. If the Terrors feel that same way, we might see an official review in this half as well. Meanwhile, on the track, Porter completed the initial pass, and he's already picked up 5 points, and he's in the middle of another scoring pass, gets pushed to the infield. Looks like Carl Marksman being assessed a blocking out of play penalty.
Unfortunate call there as Carl Marksman was the one trying to cycle Corey Porter back. So Derby Monster returns the play, but shortly thereafter, so Screech around going to take the line now against Freight Train. Out there blocking for Twin Cities, David Schmashelhoff. Freight Train, Carl Marksman, Baron Von Beans, and Steve Sweat.
Screech around, dodging around David Schmashelhoff, running into Steve Sweat and Baron Von Beans. Freight Train pushed back deep.
Spin Diesel, Bled Zeppelin, Walker Hamilton doing a nice job on Freight Train right now. Now they've cycled up. Freight Train with a little bit of daylight though, and he gets through the inside line. Completes his initial pass. Screech around, picks up 4 points there.
Screech around slid off of a potential hit from Steve Sweat. Calls off the jam, another 4, keeping Freight Train from grabbing any additional points. That's going to put Screech around 95 points thus far in the game. Of course, we want to thank Hinckley Productions and Field 59 for providing the stream. Hinckley Productions has been a friend of Derby since 2008, providing live video production services and bringing you this live broadcast of Brouhaha. Support free streaming Derby with your DVD purchase at hinkleyproductions.com/brouhaha.
Tell you what, if you like what you see from the stream, let us know and hashtag that Brouhaha 2015. So Handrail, your lead jammer here. Nader's going to nade out there for Twin Cities. He takes the panty off to try to sneak through. Gatekeepers appear to be well aware of the situation.
And the only time that strategy really worked out in favor of the Terrors was when Tim Chill was coming out of the penalty box. But this time it wasn't just trying to be sneaky. It ended up with star pass to Egon Strangler. Practically an immediate call off by the Gatekeepers. It looks like 9 points total in that jam.
And
putting
now
them over the 4th century mark.
And now we're getting to see something we don't see very often with the Gatekeepers. The Bauer brothers both out there blocking together. Shane Bauer, normally a jammer, but they've thrown him out there to block alongside his brother Nate Bauer. Shane Bauer, one of the original, joined the club shortly after its inception, just weeks after its inception. Nate joined a few years back. Has become quite the blocker himself.
I remember Shane as a baby skater at Rolling Along the River years ago. And just watching how he's grown on the track has been incredible.
Yeah, Shane was one of those guys who came to his first practice, had never skated in his life. He was a wall hugger. And man, has he developed. He was a guy that just absolutely dedicated himself. Like, from what I heard, he skated every single day for months.
Well, it's definitely shown in what he's able to do on the track.
So Firewally out there for Twin Cities. Going up against Magnum PIMP for St. Louis. A scrum start here. Both jammers forced out. Firewall to the inside, Magnum to the outside.
And the Gatekeepers pulling Firewally back deeper. Magnum only back to the notorious RED jammer line. But Firewally pulled back to the apex between turns 3 and 4. Magnum PIMP does pick up lead jammer status in this 14th jam of the second half.
And now we're seeing why Shane Bauer doesn't block very often as he gets sent off for blocking out of play.
Looks at his coach and shrugs.
Yeah. He's like, I didn't mean to, coach.
I forgot that that's something that happens with blockers.
So that jam comes to an end.
4 points picked up by Magnum. We've got a score of 405 to 65. 6.5 minutes to go in this second half. Second game on track number 1 of Midwest Brouhaha 2015. Got Tim Chilla and Screechron. Screechron looking at that tantalizing 100 points for himself in this game.
Handrail also sitting with 92, so a couple big point totals out there for the Gatekeepers. Magnum PIMP also sitting at 91, so we've got 3 guys knocking on the century mark for point totals. Meanwhile, we're getting a little
roller derby in Australia.
Yeah, exactly. Australian rules derby in effect right now.
Yeah, both jammers knocked off of the track and backwards bridging, but since both teams were going backwards, it just kept going. Screechron is out of the pack, completing his initial pass is not lead. A no pass, no penalty situation. He was able to get past someone, but they'd also gone down. That allows Tim Chilla to pick up lead jammer status, but Screechron already in scoring position.
Yep, so Tim Chilla's going to run this jam out, try to pick up some points, try to match Screechron's 4. Is the likely case scenario here. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it as Screechron is already back around and scoring points. Meanwhile, Shane Bauer being sent to the penalty box yet again.
I don't think his coach is going to let him block anymore.
Yeah.
Tim Chilla does grab 4 points. Screechron looking at another angle of attack on the Terror's wall.
Jamit Dim doing a nice job on him right now. Carl Marksman, Steve Sweat, freight train out there. Strong defensive output right now by Twin Cities.
Tim Chilla being slowed down by Monster Jam and the Saint. Percy Control and Shane Bauer also back on the track. Chilla pushed to the outfield, calling off the jam. Screechround assessed a track cut as that jam comes to an end.
He's discussing with the ref right now.
And looks like there's an official review happening as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Screechron was pleading his case, and Pink was like, yeah, we're going to review that one.
Looks like the difference on those jams, 9 picked up by the Terrors, 4 picked up by the Gatekeepers. Terrors, at this point, that might have been what their main goal was, to keep Screechround from getting to that century mark. He's sitting at 99. And with only 4:09 left, there may not be time for him to get one more jam in.
That is true.
And the Gatekeepers have been using a pretty deep jammer rotation, usually 3 or 4. And since Screech just had one, it might not be time for him to get one more in. But right now, 409 to 74. It's a big spread, but when you look at number 12 or number 14 against number 2, it's not unexpected.
No, and it's Twin Cities is putting up a great game. I mean, fundamentally and tactically, they're playing a great game. It's just the Gatekeepers are finding those little seams that they're leaving open, and they're able to capitalize on them. Great game so far by Twin Cities.
And just facing the defense of the Gatekeepers, facing those defender walls that we've seen over the years in men's derby that have stifled really everyone. The Terrors are just, they haven't found the opening, they haven't found the seam, and they've needed to sit back with all four of their blockers to try and slow down the Gatekeepers jammers. They haven't had a lot of opportunity to try and spring someone through and provide that assistance.
Yeah, the Gatekeepers will be playing Puget Sound and Texas later on this weekend. Haven't played Puget Sound in a while. They did just play Texas a few weeks ago at Spring Roll. Came out victorious, but it was only by 40-something points.
Yeah, very, very close game against Texas. And the game against Puget, that's expected to be just kind of a barn burner.
Well, I'll tell you what, every time Puget and St. Louis has gotten together, it's just been a knockdown, drag-out championship fight caliber type of game. I mean, two really physical teams going at it.
And definitely two teams that are familiar with the MRDA championships, and both gunning, trying to take that #1 spot going into the championship season this year. This weekend is actually going to do a lot to help determine that. So there's a lot on the line when those two teams face off against each other.
And it looks like it was a successful official review. Screech around has been called out of the penalty box, so the Gatekeepers will field a jammer here to begin this jam. So it's going to be Corey Porter out there against the Derby Monster for Twin Cities.
Looks like an update on scores. The Terrors picked up 4 in that second jam, or second scoring pass. Screechon did grab another 3. That puts him at 102 individually. So an impressive performance by Screechon to clear the century mark. He's got a couple of teammates that are gunning to try and take down his lead.
Yeah, and it's been a very unassuming 102 points. I mean, he's, like I said earlier, he's not flashy. He just goes out there and he gets the job done. And if you were to look and I were to tell you that Screecharound was over 102 points, you'd probably be like, I don't think you're right.
It's been consistent. He's got a couple of 25-point jams, but otherwise it's just been consistently planking away. You know, getting 12 here, getting 15 there, and those 12 and 15 have been in jams near the 2-minute mark. So it's not been a quick around and before you blinked he's already picked up 15 points.
Yep.
It's just been that steady drive that Screechround has done all game long to get himself over the century mark.
So both teams at full strength. We have an empty penalty box here to start this jam. 4:09 left on the clock here in the second half. The score: St. Louis 412, Twin Cities 73.
Derby Monster.
And everybody forced to the outside. The apex of turns 1 and 2.
And not as far of Australian rules derby this time. They didn't go back as deeply, but very well could have with both jammers. The Terrors decided to hold their ground this time. Porter is out, grabbing lead jammer status once again for the Gatekeepers. Derby Monster pushed the infield.
Yeah, Twin Cities with a nice wall, but Corey Porter just found a little bit of a seam, was able to break through a couple blockers. So now on his first scoring pass. Meanwhile, Derby Monster is able to break free. So he has now completed his initial pass.
Porter being bounced around a little bit inside the pack, calls off the jam with...
Nice defensive jam there by TC, only allowing 3 points.
Yeah, holding the Gatekeepers to only a single scoring pass is, it's been done a few times in this game, specifically in the second half, and that's definitely going to help the Terrors when they're looking at the rest of their schedule for this weekend. Playing actually the same teams as St. Louis.
Oh, handrail with some nice toe stop work on that inside line. He's going to be your lead jammer. Nader's going to nade, forced out by Percy Control and cycled back. Meanwhile, Handrail completes his first scoring pass, 5 points, a grand slam. Monster Jam up front playing offense for St. Louis.
Nader's going to nade, dancing on his toe stops, just somehow staying on the track itself. Does remove the cap. Appears that he's looking for Tim Chilla. Tim Chilla looking for him as well. But we'll see if those two can connect at any point. Gatekeepers really trying to stop that star pass from happening.
Well, now it looks like Nader's going to nade is content to hold on to the star, as he had the opportunity to pass it off and did not take it. That may change, however.
And Handrail grabbing another 5 points. There's another Rydell Skates Grand Slam, 15 points so far. Star pass completed now for the Terrors. Tim Chilla with the cap in his hand. Decides to go from inactive to active just as the jam is called off. Another 4 points picked up by Handrail.
So what is likely to be the last jam of the game, and look who takes the line, Screech Around. So it's going to be Screech Around against Freight Train.
And during that last jam, Screech Around was just passed for the overall lead in the game by Handrail. Handrail now sitting at 111. So Screech Around, yeah, he may decide that his personal mission is to get at least 9 and tie his teammate.
He does quickly grab lead. So out there defensively for Twin Cities, it's Loose Wheel, Tim Chilla, Baron Von Beans, and Steve Sweat. For the Gatekeepers, Spin Diesel, Nate Bauer, Bled Zeppelin, and Wrecking Bill.
Screech Around looked like he flew through a little bit, low flying, like an FBI surveillance plane maybe. But did pick up 5 points, completing that initial pass. Now gets pushed to the outfield by Steve Sweat. Jam It Dim re-engaging in the fray as well, forcing Screech Around back a little bit deeper. Freight Train pushed to the infield. Number 66 in black calling off the jam with, well, it looks like he's attempting to call off the jam. 4 more points.
So the jam called, the play clock has expired, just waiting on an official call off, and there it is. So it looks like your final is going to be St. Louis 442, Twin Cities 73.
And Screech Around getting 9 points, tying his teammate 111. Impressive results by both Screech Around and Handrail to get themselves to 111 points. Over on the Terrors side, nothing for them to hang their heads about. The Gatekeepers are a tough team, and the Terrors played them hard. It's just the little bit of an edge on finding the seams that really help make the difference.
Now, Twin Cities is going to be able to take a lot out of this game and apply it against Texas and Puget. This is the rest of the weekend and the rest of the season. They will definitely look back at this tape and improve. Like I said, they played a really great defensive game. The Gatekeepers just today, with far too much firepower, are able to find the littlest of seams and take full advantage of them. And it shows on the scoreboard.
Yeah, a situation where you give, like we mentioned earlier in the first half, you give an inch and they'll take a grand slam. And that just kept happening where there was the slightest opening on the inside, they would fight through it. But we're going to sign off from this track. Thanks for tuning in to Midwest Brouhaha 2015. Use the hashtag Brouhaha2015 for all of your communication. I'm Wilhelm Screen.
And I'm Star Spangled Hammer.
Stay right here for more Derby action.